Morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Happy Wednesday.
Thanks, same to you. How many did we wind up with?
I think for today we have, so we have 12, but we actually, the MBA, MW also advertised this. So I'm not sure how many they ended up having.
If anybody joins, I'm sure they'll catch up.
Perfect.
So thanks everybody for coming today. I'm very excited to introduce Matt. Matt Muscat is passionate about great marketing, amazing people, delicious food, and inspiring travel. While earning his bachelor's and master's degrees from Michigan State University, go Spartans, Matt studied the ins and outs of digital marketing. He has a passion for making the complex simple when it comes to marketing concepts. As the marketing director at Treadstone Funding, one of the nation's top boutique mortgage lenders, Matt has had the opportunity to meet mortgage professionals in all aspects of the residential real estate industry. He collaborates with some of the top lenders and top real estate professionals in the country to determine the best methods and practices, and creates fantastic ways to leverage tailored techniques for increasing results for real estate professionals. And in 2020, Matt published his first book, Tag, The Tangible Action Guide for Real Estate Marketing, which debuted on Amazon as the #1 new release of mortgages. And the last thing I'll add is that this webinar is being recorded for future playback. So with that, Matt, welcome.
Thank you, Ellen. I really appreciate the kind words. And I found it really funny that now on every Zoom call, we have to warn people that it's being recorded. I did a Con Ed class for the state of Michigan 2 weeks ago. And during the middle of my presentation, I got distracted because my phone started blowing up with text messages from realtors who knew me with a picture of the screen because one guy, an older gentleman who was on the call, started picking lint out of his belly button, not realizing that we were on a recorded Zoom call and that people could see him. And what was funny is that like the rules for the call were to get Con Ed credit, you had to keep your video on the whole time. So people were taking it to the bathroom with them. I mean, it was weird. So I never thought in my, I've been in the mortgage industry for a short 10 years now, and I never thought we would be in a place where people would be listening to my marketing advice while in the bathroom. But you know what? Hey, COVID changed the world. So luckily, at least it lowered some interest rates, and we're all in a very interesting market right now. So I am here to talk about marketing today. I've been in mortgage marketing, like I just mentioned, for 10 years now. And I know a lot of people on this call have probably been in the business for a lot longer than I do. So why should you listen to me? The #1 reason is because I do 20 of these meetings a week, and I learn from the best. So I learn from people like you guys what's working when it comes to mortgage marketing in different areas of the country. And more importantly, I learn what's working in mortgage marketing for lenders who have different types of businesses, right? Some of us are past client-based. Some of us get a lot of branch walk-ins. Some of us are realtor-based. And so we have a lot of strategies that can work no matter what your target market is. And I know right now, like a lot of these presentations I've been doing, people in mortgages are like, why would I want to go to a marketing presentation? I have more business than I can even handle right now. Rates are so low that business is coming out of the woodwork. And I think for most of us that have been in the business for a while, we know that it's very cyclical. So we know that rates could go up 2%, if China or Russia or God knows whoever does whatever election season happens. And that'll change our business. So it's figuring out what are the things you can do right now, not to necessarily generate more business tomorrow, but to make sure you can stabilize your business for the next 5, 10 years, 5, 6 months even. So I usually start by talking about digital marketing because people think, oh, hey, there's a young guy talking about marketing. I mean, I'm sure he knows about internet stuff, right? So I do. That's one of my favorite topics. So the first thing that I will discuss is Facebook and Instagram. I know a lot of us are on it. A lot of us, it's been around for 10 years now. I think I got on Facebook in 2006, 2 years after they got big. And I'd probably say when I started in real estate and mortgages in 2010, Facebook was a niche. Like not everyone was on it, and especially not everyone was using it for business. But where we've transitioned to is that now 1 in 5 humans on earth has a Facebook account. So whether you're using it for marketing, or you're just using it to stay in touch with people, it has its value and it has its place in the market. You know, the one question I get all the time is like, or the one comment is, hey, I'm not really into Facebook, do I need to use it? You don't necessarily need to do paid ads on it, but I think if you're the type of salesperson who's out there, who's sending out postcards, who's sending out letters, who's doing client events, if you're doing any marketing at all, where the goal is to stay in front of your past clients, in front of your realtors, in front of other industry professionals, then the answer is yes. Facebook, social media needs to be part of your strategy, but there's a lot of different things you can do with it. I work with an older lender at my office. He's 65 years old, does about $2 million in volume per month. He has a great business. He hates Facebook and social media. But what he does with it, that we've worked on for the last 2 years, is he uses social media as a platform to listen, not to talk, but to listen and to then find ammunition to then reach out to his past customers to structure deals for them. So he uses Facebook to say, okay, one of my past clients just became a parent for the first time. One of my past clients, their kids just graduated from high school. One of my past clients just got divorced. And then he reaches out by a phone, right? So you don't have to use Facebook to shout, which is what most people in our industry do. You can instead use Facebook to listen. Instagram works the same way. It really just depends where your customers are. You want to be on whatever social media site your customers are on the most. And if you're asking, you know, like who's on what site, typically right now, the demographic for Facebook, the heaviest amount of users are 45 and up. So it's kind of gone from like the youngest generation to the older generations. Instagram is kind of that like 25 to 40-year-old market. It's a lot of like first-time home buyers. It's a lot of new parents. And then kind of you have TikTok, right, which has been in the news recently. And that's going to be more your 18 to 25-year-olds. There's a place for each one of those sources in your marketing. You just have to figure out the way to make it work. Again, not every site's going to be for everybody, but if your goal is to simply stay in front of people and to make sure that they remember your name, there's a way to do each one of those things correctly. So I'll give you guys a little tip for social media marketing, and that is using Facebook and Instagram's algorithm to your benefit. And here's what an algorithm is. An algorithm is the way in which a website or a social media site decides how to prioritize content. So the easiest example is Google. Google has that algorithm, and they figure out based on a million factors which website to put at the top of the list and which to put at the bottom of the list. We know that if you're at the top of the list, you will get business just from being there, because when someone searches for mortgage bankers in Maryland, you will pop up. If you're at the bottom of the list, no one will find you. So Facebook and Instagram have an algorithm also. And one of the ways that their algorithm works is they basically choose what you're going to see. And that can be scary, right? Like they choose what you're going to see when you log in, and they choose what your customers are going to see. So what's important to think about here is how to use the algorithm to your advantage. And here's the number one way to do it. The number one way to use that algorithm is to send Facebook messages to people and get them to respond. As soon as I send you a message, if I were to message Amanda today and say, hey Amanda, thanks for having me on the call today, had a great time. The minute she responds to me, we will start seeing all of each other's posts more frequently. Versus, let's say Amanda and I go 2 years without talking. Let's say we lose touch. 2 years from now, she is not going to see virtually anything that I post on social media, because Facebook will not think that I care about her, and Facebook will not think that she cares about me. Facebook's ultimate goal is to put things in front of people that they think will keep them on the platform, because the more time you spend on their platform, the more advertising dollars that they can get. So play into that. When you message someone, you know that they will start seeing your posts more, and you can be strategic about that. So let's say you're doing a realtor happy hour, and you want to get 10 of your best referring realtors out to a happy hour, maybe a small group, because COVID is still a thing apparently, and maybe it's a Zoom event, who knows. If you want them to see this event that you're posting on Facebook, The strategy is to send them a message the day before you post it, and you can ask them about literally anything. It could be the weather, it could be the sports game that was on the night before, it could be an update on a deal you guys have together. The minute you message them and they message you back, the next day they're going to be 95% more likely to see whatever post you share out there. It is a dynamite strategy. And by the way, if you have a team, if you're a higher volume loan originator, or you have a marketing team, you can kind of have them do some of this stuff for you, right? You can have them go and send messages out on your behalf. It's one of the most powerful pieces of marketing that I found. Now, another one that you can use out there is paid advertising. So Facebook and Instagram both offer opportunities for paid advertising. To do paid advertising, you need a business page. However, most ads that I see lenders doing, unless it's like a large company, are not super well thought out. They're not super successful. But one that I have found to be successful is called a retargeting ad. And you see this all the time from like cruise ship companies, shoe companies, etc. So you go to their website, you click around, and then all of a sudden you see their ads on the internet everywhere you go. It's like these ads are following you. So the strategy for these is to put a piece of code on your website or on any like online property that you control, and then you put that same code back on your Facebook page. And what happens is it tracks people. And then you can set an ad, and instead of advertising it to a specific customer market of like women between these ages who live in this area, who are into basketball or whatever you're targeting, you can instead target people who have already been on your website. It's a great way to stay in front of your past clients. It's a great way to stay in front of a certain group of people who are already familiar with you. When we did that a couple of years ago at our branch of our mortgage company, we were able to increase our conversion rate by over 40%. And these are people that like applied for a loan or who like contacted us about a pre-approval, who all of a sudden we're now staying in touch with between this, day 1 and day 500 when they eventually find a home. We know that when people come to us to get a loan, they haven't always found a house yet. And in today's market of low inventory all around the world, it can take a year to find a house. Although that's not ideal, it happens. So by simply using Facebook retargeting or Instagram retargeting or one of these tools to stay in front of people, it is a dynamite strategy. And a lot of people will ask me, like, what's the cost? The cost is $5 a day. I mean, look at the commissions you guys earn when you close a deal. $5 a day is a really great return on investment if it helps you save 3 to 5 deals a year and hopefully get some more out of it too. Another question about social media I get all the time is, what should I be posting? First, there's a great book on Amazon. It's called What to Post, and it's specifically about Facebook and Instagram. It's a short read. It has very, very simple examples of what you can post if you're in real estate on social media. It's a little bit more focused towards realtors. However, I think most of us realize that the kinds of marketing that realtors can do are very similar to the stuff that we can do, simply because a customer has to use both of us to have a successful transaction. But the most successful type of post that I've seen mortgage originators do are posts with a picture of a house followed by the monthly payment. Some wisdom that someone gave me a couple years ago that it's been one of the best pieces of information I've received is that people below the age of 40 shop for monthly prices, and people over the age of 40 shop for the price of the house. And yeah, think about that. It's in terms of like what people have in savings, right? People under 40, myself included, don't typically have tons and tons and tons of savings. Although I save every month, it takes a while for that to build up. The majority of my wealth as a 31-year-old male is stored in equity in my properties. And so when you're advertising to a 25-year-old, a 26-year-old, when you advertise that monthly price, maybe I think the average monthly price around us for a mortgage payment is $1,200 a month for a 3-bedroom, 1,400 square foot house. It's different all around the country, but the monthly payment always sounds a lot more palatable than the actual price of the home. I think we could all agree, whether the house is $100,000 or $1 million, anything above $100,000 sounds really expensive. It sounds like a lot of money because it's more than we make in a year for many people. So I highly recommend figuring out the monthly payment. And whether you're sharing that based on 3% down, 20% down, it really doesn't matter as long as you provide the appropriate disclaimers that your company and that your local regulations make you do. But it's a great opportunity to find a realtor in town, make them feel special by posting their house, but then hopefully generate some business for you and for them by posting what the monthly payment could be. it is a great way to reach the market. I have some people that when they have buyers that are kind of like burnt out on shopping for houses, they will send them like 5 houses a week that fit within a certain monthly payment. It's a great way to get people thinking about a house that they might not have otherwise thought about. And it's also, by the way, if you have rental properties, you can market this to your tenants. So many people in our industry have a lot of their wealth tied up in rental properties, and if that's you, make sure that marketing to your tenants is a key piece of your strategy. So I wanted to open it up before we move on to any other topics. I wanted to open this up for any questions. What questions, you can use the chat function, you can barge in on the video. What questions have you had about Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing, or any other type of technology marketing in the mortgage market?
Could you repeat that one more time? So people under 40 tend to shop by, what was it?
Yeah, so people over 40, and it was tied more to how much money you have and how much savings you have, but in general, it's around the age of 40. People over 40 tend to shop and look at the annual price of the house, or the total price of the house. You know, it's a $400,000 house. Mm-hmm. People under 40 are typically more concerned with what that monthly payment is going to be, and you'll be more able to attract them by advertising the monthly payment that seems a lot more palatable.
Got it.
You know, I mean, if you have like $150,000 in your 401k, right? Like, although that's not money that you're going to spend on your house, when you see that the house is $200,000, it seems like a lot less money versus someone that has like $5,000 total in their name from all assets. When they see that the monthly price is $1,200, they're like, well, hey, at least it's lower than my monthly rent on my apartment. You know, I look at some of the rent figures that my friends are paying in major metropolitan areas, and it's like 5 times what I pay for my mortgage. And so I'm now slowly getting to the place where I look at the total price of the house, but a lot of people, that monthly price is such a great way to market it. And the thing I like about that strategy also is that there's never a shortage of new homes coming on the market. So if every day you just picked a new home that you wanted to market based on the monthly price, you would never run out of marketing that you could do. And obviously you have to give the realtor credit whose listing it is, and you have to, you know, put whatever disclaimers out there, but it's an awesome strategy.
Hey, Matt, it's Linda Boyle with National MI. How are you?
Hey, great, Linda. How are you?
Good, good. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the ad advertising you said through Facebook, the $5 a day?
Yeah.
Just how do you get to that? And can you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
Absolutely. So, you know, anytime we talk about Facebook advertising, it tends to sound a little bit confusing, more confusing than it is. So I'll preface it with this. In order to do this form of marketing, you need to have access to a website. So if you're a loan officer and your company has a website and you have no access to it whatsoever, you're not going to be able to use this strategy. You have to have like either your own personal website, or you have to have the marketing team from your branch on board. But what you do is you log into Facebook, you click on the little, and you have to do this from a computer, by the way, not a phone. You log into Facebook, you click on the little arrow at the top right, click on Ads Manager, and from Ads Manager, there's a button called Audiences. And an audience is just the group of people that you want your ad to target. So, you know, you can build an audience yourself where you could say, hey, I want to target, you know, a certain group of people in a certain area. Can't be discriminatory, but target a certain people in a certain group of people in a certain area. Or it'll let you target people based on website traffic. So you click that option, and the code, it would give you a piece of code to put in the back side of your website. So again, you have to have someone that knows what they're doing. Do this. It's a one-time thing though. You never have to mess with it again. Have them put the code on your website, and all of a sudden it will track every IP address of every person that goes to your website. And then you build an advertisement, and that ad can say whatever you want it to say. It could just say, hey, Linda's National MI team is the best. Make sure to not forget about them, with a cute image of whatever you want it to be. And then every day, anyone who's been to your website will start to see that advertisement on Facebook and on Instagram. And Facebook owns Instagram, so typically when you do an ad on Facebook, you can click one button and send that ad to Instagram as well. So that's called Facebook retargeting. And you know, even if you can't do it for yourself, if you can suggest that your branch do it at a branch level, it can be beneficial for your whole office.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's one of the cheapest forms of marketing out there, and I should mention that like This is something that like the biggest companies in America have been doing for 20 years. But when Facebook came out with this product a couple years ago, call it 5 years ago, it made it so easy for the average consumer to do on their own. You don't have to hire an expensive ad agency to make this happen. And I should also mention, if your company allows it, you can make your own website these days for $1,500 or less. Like, you can make a great website that just has your bio, some information, a link to apply with you that would actually, they wouldn't be applying through the site, they'd be applying through your actual company's third-party website. But it doesn't have to be expensive to build a website. If anyone ever needs help on this, let me know. I can connect you with some awesome mortgage marketing firms out there. What other questions do we have? Questions are way more fun than me just rambling on about the internet. Okay, well, I will just keep rambling on for a couple more minutes. So the last thing I'll talk about is traditional marketing. So when you're looking to figure out what the next step in your business is, typically we look at past clients. It's the one thing that we all have. Whether you have one past client or 1,000 past clients, what are you doing to keep in front of them? So I think it's like 75% of people don't use the same lender twice. That's kind of sad, right? Like, realtors get used 50% of the time. So if you use a realtor, there's a 50% chance they'll use the same one again. But why do lenders like not get the same? It's because most of us, a lot of lenders out there traditionally have been very transactional. It's about that one-time close. It's about that refi for a new customer. You're always chasing new business. But a good lender should be able to close at least 20% of their own database per year. That's regardless of where rates are, by the way. If you have 1,000 people in your database, that means you should be able to pull 200 deals a year specifically out of that. That is a huge, huge number. I mean, think about 200 deals a year is a lot. I think our top lender at our office, who I market for, did 600 transactions, and that was like $135 million in annual sales. So to do 200, that could be a third of that volume. That would make you probably number one of a lot of the companies that you work for. So think about this. Why are we not marketing to our past clients in a more meaningful way? And lenders will give excuses, right? Oh, my company doesn't allow me to use Facebook for marketing, or my company doesn't allow me to do events, or with COVID, I can't do my happy hours anymore. There's always an excuse. But there's no company that I've found yet that prohibits you from picking up the phone and calling someone. There's no company that prohibits you from being friends on Facebook. I mean, I think all of those things are pretty normal. So what I would recommend doing is I would put together a 5-touch strategy for how you're going to communicate with your past clients every year. Step 1, it's an annual phone call. Sounds like a lot. But again, if you have 200 past customers, there's 365 days in the year. You're not even making calls every single day. It could be you're going to call 10 people once a week. You could get there, right? So figure out what your strategy is going to be for phone and set that first. If you're looking for things to talk about, I typically like to talk about equity. I typically like to reach out and ask how their home is going. Like, hey, have you done any renovations? Give your customers a chance to brag, right? Like, you are helping someone get into a ton of debt. Why not offer them the opportunity to get out of debt by making some of the right decisions? Telling them what types of renovations are going to add value to their house. Telling them about what's happening in the mortgage market. Right now, calling them and letting them know, hey, if you haven't refinanced yet, you literally need to do that today. Giving them the right information. Home values. Home values are great. There's a lot of software out there that lenders can buy that will update their customers on what their home value is once a quarter. Things like that are great. If you work with realtors, you can maybe strike a deal with one of your realtors to do annual home price reviews for customers, CMAs, things like that. Second step, what emails are you sending out? Typically, even if your company doesn't allow you to do mass emails, which most of them do, you can send out 5 to 10 emails a day, and that's super easy. Again, coming up with valuable information to send out. I mean, being a part of an organization like the one you're in, like a Mortgage Bankers Association, there's always a newsletter that's coming out that has great information that you can repurpose, put in your own words, and then send out. There's real estate sites out there like the Inman News that share really trendy new articles on home design trends and new technology that homeowners could buy. We put out an article the other year, and it simply talked about smart home technology. And I think we got like 500 opens out of 1,000 emails that we sent out. People were interested in it. So think about what content you can share out by email. Next one, text messages. There's mass texting systems out there. We use one called ZipWhip, ZIPWHIP. It's $150 a month. I can text out 5,000 of my clients at one time and see who bites on a refi, see who bites on, who's buying a house this summer. Send out like, hey, like anyone who answers this survey gets a $5 gift card. Again, check with the rules in your area and what you're allowed and not allowed to do. But come up with unique ways to use text messaging. There's mass voicemail systems out there. One of your touches per year can be a voicemail. And what I like to do is like when you leave someone a voicemail, but you're leaving like a mass voicemail to a lot of people at the same time, I like to use a lot of intonation in my voice to make them feel like it's not a spam message. So like, hey, just wanted to reach out and let you know, doing this client party next week, blah, blah, blah. Or hey, just wanted to let you know, did some analysis, home prices in your area were up 15% over last year. If you want me to give you an exact number, give me a call back at this number. There are systems out there like Sly Dial and Sly Broadcast that let you throw out up to 500 voicemails in a minute. These are pre-recorded messages that you hit one button and they go to everybody in your database. There are so many opportunities for easy marketing out there. Don't do nothing. Market to your past clients. And then finally, spend an afternoon and add a bunch of your past clients on Facebook. You can even put them in a group, like a private group that they don't know they're in, but that you know they're in, and they can be labeled as past clients. And then when you do a post on Facebook or and this is really Facebook, it doesn't work for Instagram. When you do a post, you can choose to post it just to people that are in that group. And that way, Facebook gets the message that those are the people you actually want to see your post, and a higher percentage of them will see it. So those would be some strategies that I would use for marketing to your database. When COVID's over, definitely do some client appreciation parties once a year. Definitely do some crafty ideas. We're doing a lot this year. The most fun one that we've done is called porch trits. So we have a photographer that will go out to our past clients' homes and take family quarantine photos of them. It's not that expensive. We spent $1,000 on a photographer for 2 full Saturdays and gave her a list of clients that were interested. She shows up to their house. They're in the driveway. She's in the driveway. They're 10 feet apart. She takes 5 or 6 family photos of them and sends them the link the next day. We got an amazing, amazing response from it. Our customers absolutely love it, and it keeps us engaged with them. Again, that might not be the right fit for everybody out there, but we've done pizza drop-off kits. We sent out every realtor in our market a little pizza kit, and it was from a local business that was struggling, and it was just dough, tomato sauce, cheese, and I think it was like a really small $5 bottle of wine. And I'd say if we sent out 500 of them, we probably had 100 of them Instagram it and share about how great we were. And these are people, by the way, not just people that we work with. This is just the broader real estate community in general that we want to know and like us. So get creative in what you're doing, but I think there's so many opportunities to have fun with your marketing. So that is what I was going to talk about today. Do we have any questions before I throw it back to your awesome hosts? No? Okay, awesome. Well, anyone that wants more marketing tips, my book is The Tangible Action Guide for Real Estate Marketing. It's available on Amazon. It's $14, and it has tangible 2-page chapters with easy marketing tips for lenders and realtors. If you work a lot with real estate agents, the book is probably 75% guided towards real estate agents and specific things that they can do. And then another 25% of these strategies are very specific to mortgage lenders. But all of the strategies are very centered around lenders who are real estate centric. So if you need help, $14, it'll make your life a lot easier. And I'm always happy to chat with anyone on Facebook and LinkedIn who wants some one-on-one advice. We're not competitors. I don't do business in your state, so happy to help out.
Thank you so much, Matt. And just for everybody on the call, I will share the link to your book and your LinkedIn and your Facebook
Awesome.
with everybody that attended after the call.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks so much,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good one.
Thank you.